Hello and welcome to the final part of our three-part series. Today's session is entitled A Guide to Instant Payment Adoption, Future-Proofing Your Business. And we've got a really good session ahead when we aim to give clear insights to aid the adoption of the new instant payment legislation. Now, I'm Bruce Dobworth. I'm your host and facilitator for today, and I'm delighted to be joined by two guest speakers from Worldline, both of them French, I believe. We have Sarah Pilser, who is the head of regional sales, and Bruno Chatinier, who is the senior product marketing manager for business process outsourcing. Do not be fooled by the accent. He is based in Scotland, by the way. So both of them are from Worldline, as I say. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving up your time today. Shall we get started with this webinar? A question firstly for you, Bruno. What is the impact of the sudden ramp up of instant payments? Can you talk to us about the impact, please?
Thanks, Bruce. That's a very interesting question and very important questions here, because the new norm will bring certainly a large increase, important increase of the volume of transaction to be processed. So for the banks, that's going to be a massive change. And this is something I would like to bring straight away. Beyond the solution we're going to, players can bring to the clients, definitely is going to be a key things which will be certainly a shift in the mindset. Meaning, like, when you move from a bank working from Monday to Friday 9 to 5, and now becoming the new norm with working like 24/7 by 365 days, that's a new ball game. And that's going to be a massive change on the market. I mean, the way the different players are going to move. This is part of the digital transformation per se. So this is the reason why that's going to have an impact on the solutions to be brought and on the solution to be developed, on the infrastructure itself. And as we know, there is a massive momentum as well for the banks, talking about APIs, talking about cloud. So if you don't take care of them, and definitely could lead like to some important cost for the banks and for the community. That's the reason why we need to take care of that. And this is second point as well we need to raise here is definitely the fact that there is a, due to the volumes, due to the real-time sort of speak element of the payments, and talking about risk and talking about them in scams as well. So this is a reason why that's going to be very important to bring the right solutions to make sure like we're going to minimize the risk involved in those transactions.
Okay, Sarah, the end user. So what's the impact of this ramp up going to have on the end user, please?
It's a very fair question, Bruce. Thanks for asking it. Well, success by the end user is actually all about experience, but then this is about market adoption. There is that high pressure on banks to deliver that instant payment front-end innovation. But yeah, at the end, the true innovation will be in convenience that banks will bring to their users. So, these days, Bruno articulated the digital transformation that we see going on, but we do see Gen Z coming to the market, slowly getting access to payment methods. If we want them to embrace instant payment in their day-to-day payment experience, they need to be convinced. There needs to be, I would say, a absolutely true performance and usability of it.
Or else they'll just ditch it. They'll just switch to a different payment method. Yeah. Bruno, can you just talk to us, please? I'm reading from my list of questions here. Can you talk us through the value of scalability and resilience when it comes to creating an instant payment adoption game plan? So what do we need to consider when we're developing a game plan?
This is what I said. If we have, for the banks and for the financial institutions community, there are different things, different elements. And again, I would start definitely to consider the shift in the mindset. because that's going to be very critical, just to make sure, like, I mean, the banks, I mean, the bankers, absolutely align with their own clients, talking about individuals or corporates. That mindset, that new mindset, it's leading, like, definitely to understand and to approach, I mean, the solution behind in a better way, and adoption of the SCTs, adoptions also, like, I mean, moving to a more cloud world. So this is where we're going to bring and solutions where the adoptions, where the implementation, the onboarding would be like simpler. So that's going to be one of the key elements, definitely. I mean, the other one would certainly be like in the way, I mean, that's going to be done will be the experience, I mean, we bring into this matter. Obviously, like we're talking about account to account payments, and definitely our partners, when we talk about, I mean, card payments, we're going to use also that experience, I mean, to bring values and to bring like key elements, I mean, to the community. You know, different other principle when it comes to scalability, and also like elements like FinOps principles. So different elements which can absolutely support, I mean, the community and to deploy, I mean, the right solutions.
Fabulous. Sarah, so I want to talk about how our audience will go about creating a instant payment roadmap. What would the first step be? What would the second step be? What are the core principles that should be front of mind for our audience when they're listening to this, please?
Yeah, it's very, very wise. I think it's it's the one thing that we for the last couple of months discussed, me and my team. I mean, the market is extremely curious to understand, our perspective on this topic. So because here we're talking about really an unprecedented and total shift to real-time payments. So the UX that we are contemplating here really needs to be aligned to the instant world. This digital transformation that we're seeing, banks need to more than adopt it. They need to embrace what it means to their core value, but also to bring value to the end user. So it's not only about aligning their technology, but they really need to sit back and think, okay, what is it that we want to bring to our users? There are a few technology perspectives that they need to consider. So obviously, instant will have to be using the same payment rails. They already do so, but they need to adjust that. But they also need, to think about how to accompany their current SCT, but also SDD users along the change. What does it mean to their behavior? So there is a lot of perspective to be thought through. It is not only about being compliant; it's really about how to embrace it, how to make it a very long strategy and looking to the future of the bank. So I know we've already covered in previous sessions, but here are also major additional pillars to this regulation that will bring value to the user. So I'm here talking about the verification of pay, but also about the entity-based sanction screening. This is something that will mean value to the market, and banks need to understand how can they position it, how can they make it a simple thing towards the market. So they are like core questions, that need to be looked at, addressed, but also decided. So, it's not only about, making it compliant. I mean, I'm repeating myself on that point, but, partnerships can really be a quick fix for banks, to create that value, to be ready for the next move on the market. So the real-time payment is there, and there's no way back. That's really, how we see it.
Yeah, definitely no way back. Bruno, you've been listening to Sarah. Anything to add from your experience to what Sarah had to say, please?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the roadmap, again, I'll use possibly for the third time and not the last time in the mindset shift, and this needs to be part of the roadmap. Talking about, I mean, the teams dealing with this processing of instant payments have to work together, have to talk together to see where they want to go. So beyond, I mean, the technical aspects, it's not just hardware, there's going to be also software. And bear in mind one thing, which will be quite important. Real-time payment will be the norm. And this is just the beginning of a journey as well. So we know that that will impact, the entire world of the account-to-account payments. So it's just the beginning of this of a journey.
So also, while we've got you, Bruno, what about turnkey solutions for late adopters? What options are out there if you're a late adopter? What turnkey solutions are out there to help them?
Yeah, I mean, we do have like a different ways of doing that. I mean, the first one is for like a banks to develop, their own solution and just to onboard a agile light solutions, which is based on cloud technology and using API. That's going to be for a quick onboarding. Definitely, like a second ways of doing it is using like trusted partners, and what I use to integrate solutions. That's going to be the second point. But I would certainly say one thing, which is an important thing for all, for the audience, is no quick fix. If you try to do so, you will certainly revisit your solution like in 6 months, in a year, or in 2 years' time, and possibly to have another not quick fix, but just to rethink the overall process. Because again, as I said previously, we're talking about the beginning of a journey. So that's going to be like a first pillar of a longer journey, the first step of a longer journey. This is why you really need to think about it. So please, based on experience as well, no quick fix.
Okay, quick fix at your peril, hey? So, Sarah, how can banks make sure that these new instant payments are appealing for customers when there's so many other instant payment solutions on the market? How do the banks go about that?
That's a fair question. There is a high level of competition on the market, right? So in my view, this is the one-shot opportunity for banks, really to differentiate themselves, find value, right? So it's just the beginning of the journey, right? So I'd be curious to see where we are in 5 years' time. We can also compare it to the introduction of SEPA. At the beginning, it was a totally new thing, and here we are, right? So we're moving to instant. So, I really believe, that the regulations are offering a minimum viable product, but that banks, will find ways to differentiate themselves from their competition. So it's really, it's an opportunity for them to revitalize their image, modernize the infrastructure. As Bruno said, you should not, just make it to make it, right? You should really grab that opportunity and find a way actually to really turn it into a true market share discussion. Innovation should be at the forefront. We do see that banks are investing massively into cloud technology, into finding the best for their users. There is that true fight at the moment between the traditional banks and neobanks, and who's going to win, that new market share is to be responded. And, I think, there are examples that we do see on the market where new use cases have been created. I mean, observe in in Switzerland is one example, but you also have Swish in Sweden or Vips in Norway. Those are really, solutions that we've seen more in our continental Europe perspective. But otherwise, we could quickly name, Pix in Brazil, has totally, shifted the country from cash to instant payments. And you also have that great example with UPI in India. I mean, it's just a massive success there. So it's for us, it is something to think through, and this is an extremely key pivotal stage in the market.
Yeah, thank you for those examples. I will be Googling them later on. So just to conclude, Sarah, what final piece of advice would you give the audience listening in today? Should be their big takeaway from today's discussion, please?
Yeah, so I think it's a big piece here. I mean, my advice, is it's just, focus on the future. I mean, it's just the beginning of the journey, right? There's so much to be done. We're talking here about euro, right? But actually, I was reading this weekend that that Sweden even entered, tips. So you do see that more and more countries that are non-euro based will enter, the scheme for instant payments. So this is, we're contemplating here new cases, new solution, and really we're looking into the integration of new use cases, and totally, trying and aiming at value creation for users. So for me, it's an opportunity. I really grab that opportunity to strengthen your product portfolio, review your IT landscape, and really align your business with your technology. And it is a real-time opportunity, I would say. That's how I can combine both, real-time payment and real-time opportunity. This is like a long journey to take altogether.
I love that we're finishing on an optimistic note. Thank you, Sarah. So Bruno and Sarah, thank you so much for your insight, your wisdom, your ideas. We loved it, and all your examples as well. So this actually concludes the entire three-part series. So this is the third and final episode. As I say, thank you to our speakers. Thank you to all of you for taking part and listening so intently. All 3 episodes of this instant payment series are available on demand. Just look at the section, the attachment section directly below the screen here. And all it really remains is us to say goodbye and thank you. Best of luck with your businesses. And I hope to see you again soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you.